In today's episode, we will be going over some of the best highlights from the matchup between T1 and BLG during the knockout stage of the 2024 MSI. Without further ado, let's dive straight into the action.
Understands that 1 versus 4, even under a turret, probably not going to work out. They're looking for their first couple of plates.
Clean sweep here on the jungle quadrants for BLG. Wait, he's sneaking back in?
Yep, not sure about that one, as he's taking a fair bit of damage. Q does connect there from Owner, but so does the snare from this center. Looks like Bin.
The TP and the repeat dive.
Yep, straight back down there once again. A good snare lands from Gumayushi here, as Zeus tanking the first turret shot. We're going to try and soften him up. Of course, it is dangerous to try and dive at Jax just in general, but 4 versus 1 here on the top side of the map as well. Looks like BLG might be able to get onto the board as Carrier wants to eat that great health. He does so, and Shun not going to be able to reset. That is Carrier locking that one down. A 1-for-1 on the top side, and in the meantime, Zeus just barely surviving, and they clean up the dive bot.
Just about.
And so they were able to get that one. But here we go for the next round. Shun is now looking at Guma.
Yeah, there are 4 members of BLG moving down here. There's a flash twisted advance, gets very deep underneath the turret, but the seismic shove is fantastic. And this time, Shun doesn't need a twisted advance to survive the dive. In goes Owner once again, does a fair bit of damage tonight. And it looks like they will be able to get away from this one scot-free. Faker making the roam down. Let's see whether the Vega can get his cage into position. T1 wanting to keep them interested. There's a flash out from On. And it should mean that T1 aren't able to get too much back, as Shun taking a lot of damage, still down to 100 though, keeps himself alive, as now Faker throws out the LTL, just barely surviving! And the Dark Matter not going to connect on.
Topside Bin getting a nice little bit of farm and experience lead over Zeus.
Meanwhile, they're looking for a repeat here. Faker sticking around.
Yeah, On in a bit of trouble here, as Faker does move on down towards that bottom side, and that is going to be killed going over to Gumayushi. Just a little bit greedy for the experience.
Yeah, nicely done there. Carrier's like, don't worry, Faker. Grabbing that first little break point. Meanwhile, Shun again, ultimate towards Faker.
Yeah,
Faker who does have flash.
Yeah, should be able to get himself pretty far away. Seismic shove going to connect though, puts down the cage, but it doesn't really do anything. Dark Matter flies down and Faker is just dead. No flash going to even be in. Very deep one. That's that ward that we were looking at before, as Carrier is going to make his way in. Bin already down to about 50%, and he does have the counter-strike up and available. That means not going to be able to find too much, especially with Knight teleporting in. Beautifully played here by BLG to just get what they can from the Rift. Owner going to be still going to be able to answer that first turret that was taken on the bottom side by BLG. They'll answer, though, with a Rift Herald of their own. And now, Owner looking to go aggressive, does dive towards Elk, but thinks against it, as now that is a better target for the Cullen. Gumayushi taking a fair bit, still able to outrange it. Nature's Grasp going to be used here by Shun. Let's see who we can get for it, as Gumayushi very far off to the side, and that is going to be Owner going down. Elk dives forward, picks up the kill for himself, but he's now out of the fight, gone very, very low. Really beautifully done by BLG, and it looked just unanswerable, especially for Owner, who as soon as he did get snared, he was just doomed. This tower going to go down though, as Faker secures.
BLG, Elk and On, they push it, they roam up to that topside tower.
Yep, tidal wave going to come down. The baby cage is there to try and protect his Gumayushi. The piercing darkness is decent, but he gets caught. Oh, Faker no, does have the Seraphs, and that is going to keep him alive for the moment.
Look at that value play though, BLG.
A lot of value there is going to be picked up until the very end, and now the snare comes down. Tidal wave finds absolutely nothing, as the Destiny going to be utilized. That gives vision of this Drake, but I don't think they're going to be able to get there, so that's the Dragon being secured by BLG. And T1 slink back to the mid lane.
Teleporting on Zeus.
All right, yeah, Bin. He's looking for an opportunity onto the Twisted Fate here, and now he finds himself in melee range. Not exactly where the TF wants to be, but the cavalry has been called in. The kick flash, it comes down, the flash out, he snares both, but he's going to be able to survive the Dawning Shadow. And T1 not able to find anything, but still not going to lose their Twisted Fate either.
T1 were trying to trade for the tier 2 on top side, but now they might trade their lives.
Yep, another Nature's Grasp coming on down there as Owner gets twisted advanced on. The seismic shove doesn't quite find the target though, and Carrier is once again extraordinarily tanky. Still BLG, they just kite them back, and are we going to get another kill this game?
Mid lane has been pushed up here by T1. They go for the 4-1 split push with Faker on bottom side, being able to get the rest of the wave, but here comes the collapse from BLG.
Yep, gold card going to connect, but Elk not really too worried about it. And here is all of the ultimates flying forward. It's a decent gobble this time around, but the Tom Kench will not survive. Faker finds his opportunity, but he just takes a Nami, and that is not going to do enough to get them into this fight. Still flashing, puts down the cage, but the Baleful Strike will not land. And now there is nowhere for him to go. Back against the wall, and there is a killing spree for Knight.
Look, and Cleanse and Flash ready. Dragon is going to be theirs, but the ward's cleared out, so T1 going to keep on making you think, are we rushing it, huh?
Yeah, are we going to do the Baron? You can see that, you know, Faker throwing like a W at it just to say like, yeah, we could.
Look at the spam.
There is Ona getting himself out of there with the
No
safeguard.
flash on Faker.
And there's another Weaver's Wall to come through from Knight. Ona gets over at the Nature's Grass, should be able to get the Viger, although it does run out. Still, I think Ben with some free time should be able to take him down. Seismic shove not onto Faker, but he's still going to go down. And that is Knight that collects that kill. T1, they do get here to try and defend, but they're not going to be able to save their mid laner. Faker with BLG pushing it even further forward.
Faker with his dying breath.
Yeah, it's just too dangerous for T1. With Faker in the graveyard there, they cannot afford to defend their Oh my god!
The Devour has to be used here by Carrier, and he's going to get Gamushi out, but to safety, I'm not entirely sure because the teleport's coming in, and Ben just dives on top of him. There goes the bottom lane, shoved around his Carrier, and Knight is indeed unstoppable.
And mid jungle, if they want to try and contest this, being going to try and keep Zeus out.
Well, Zeus might be able to get on in here. There is the Destiny. That is going to give them at least vision of what's going on here. Ona, he can safeguard his way through. And Faker with that smite play you were talking about, it is very scary. Dawning Shadow gives them vision. And Ona goes in, but it's not going to be in time. Kicks the tree over the wall and then meets his doom.
Wait, the TP mid?
All right, well, Carrier's making his way back, and he's tanky, but not that tanky. And he goes the wrong direction, one could say. Faker's going to turn up alongside him and just die.
BLG are going to speed run the rest of this game then. Thank you.
All right, well, Gumiushi is going to try and defend, and it's not going to work, as this is going to be the base broken for BLG. Feels like T1 just can't handle the pressure. There it is. Rocks being strewn on the ground in front of Gumiushi. Isaiah's trying to do some fancy footwork, but it is not going to be enough. As Ona, he gets underneath his inhibitor turret, but he's thrown around like a ragdoll once again. Elk will be taken down. So there's at least some shutdown gold going over to Ona. And BLG, they're happy to have some fun as well.
Does mean they won't get the inhibitor though, and because Bin was pushing the top side, won't actually get too much, so a little bit of a
approach a death trap, so
well, there is a kick. That's just not going to work there for Ona. He's going to be put into a bubble and destroyed. Zayas moving on down the cage. Fantastic this time, but it's the resurrection and Carrier. He mistimes the abyssal dive. Elk gets himself out of there with the relentless pursuit, and there goes Faker. BLG are too far ahead, and they know it. Has now been flashing with the counter-strike. That'll be the ace, and that will be match point for BLG.
BLG, the LPL first seed, showing why they were so feared coming into MSI, taking us to a match point against T1.
Nexus will go down, and BLG, man, you were right, Kobe. You said it at the...
These were some of the best highlights from the MSI 2024 Knockouts matchup between T1 and BLG. Which moment was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below.